Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. Here in the Bible Bistro, we have a new book on the bookshelf, Uncle Royce's Funeral, an anthology. Short stories that I've written. I hope that you'll go out and grab a copy. It's available for the Kindle, and real soon will be available available as a paperback. Also, don't forget now that we have a website. Bible Bistro has a website. It's my-dailydose.com. You can interact with all things Daily Dose Radio, Creek Road Baptist Pulpit, look through the blog, the poetry, the articles, the different things that are there, some of the video links that are there, and just check all that out. I hope that you'll go there and interact with my-dailydose.com. Verse 96 is our subject today, and verse 96 does a really good job of tying together the entirety of this 8-verse section that's called the Lamed section. You'll notice in verse 96, let me read that for you. I have seen an end of all perfection, but thy commandment is exceeding broad. So we began talking about the eternality of God's work and His Word. All of God's work is based on His Word. And then we saw the life of the servant of God, again, based on a devotion to the Word of God. His prayer based in the Word of God. The result of the prayer, his testimony about the prayer, comes through the testimonies that he considers during affliction. And now we come to 96, and he says, I've seen an end of all perfection. I want to read to you from John Mason Neal's translation of that 96th verse. He said, I see that all things come to an end, but thy commandment is exceeding broad. All things come to an end. An end of all perfection is the King James translation. Neal's translation is not perfection, but creation. All things come to an end, which actually fits real well with what we have here, because we have the eternality of the Word and of God's work, but we know that everything else is transient. His life, the life of those enemies, the wicked that are waiting for him, and all that he's done, his prayer even, all of those things have a timestamp. However, thy commandments, and so we're talking about that first section, 89 through 91. The commandments are exceeding broad. And again, let me take you back to John Mason Neal, because he has a little piece here that I just thought was excellent. And as I was reading through this commentary, he writes, God's commandment is exceeding broad because it can give space and freedom to those who are in trouble and distress, because it affords the widest range to the intellectual powers of man, because it is easy and pleasant for all who understand it cheerfully, and because it has no end whatsoever. To the saint, therefore, it does not appear narrow, steep, and difficult, but pleasant, easy, and level, like a broad and even way, which is convenient for the traveler. Isn't that lovely? So the Word of God is that to the believer. It is a pleasant way. It is broad and even and level. It's not a hard thing. And as he says, it's not steep and dangerous. No, the commandments are exceeding broad. They are available. They continue to grow. And especially that first little piece there where he says it affords the widest range to the intellectual powers of man. When we think about the commandments of God, there are so many avenues which it takes us down in our meditation of it. We learn so much about ourselves and about our neighbors and how to interact with them, how to interact with the Lord, how to be good stewards and servants of His. So this last verse in 96 really kind of ties together everything that we've had here in 119. I hope you'll join me again next week as we look at the main section on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.